What's up, y'all? This is Rom coming back at you with yet another office video. The online world versus what's in the streets. And you know what? And I've talked about this before, but I was inspired to do this particular one by one of my supporters, Gino Vasquez. And he had three questions. He said he would ask men. He wanted to ask men, right? And he said, name three things. And he gave the examples like, name three things women want in a husband. And he said, if you say 6'4", 6 figures income, and 6-pack abs. Okay. But then the second question was, what do women want in men they desire just for sex? And then he added this part. Since they by and large get pregnant by guys that are none of these three. And then he said, which guy do they make wait for sex, pass tests to show their worth, and which guy do they push for sex on the first date? And, that third one, that's an interesting one, but the first two, because think about what the online world says and what y'all hearing from some of these content creators. Or what people believe in general. A lot of men say, you got to be 6 feet. You got to have 6 figures income. You got to have 6-pack abs. And of course, you get some women say they want those things and stuff. But then in the real world, who actually get the women pregnant? Because I always say, if you got a man, you got children, that's the only true receipt. People talking receipts. Anybody can take pictures. Unless you got like some picture of them actually having sex. But seriously, on a serious thing, who these women popping out babies by? Who these women popping out babies by? They don't be looking like what people think online. They don't be looking like supermodel of the world. Shit, if you out in the real world, how often you actually see that guy with that perfect bone structure and everything? Nah, you don't see it, do you? That often. I mean, in person. Now, what you see online, you can't trust that, and a lot of that's fake. Like you see a lot of stuff is staged because first of all, if you deal with somebody in the real world, first of all, you can't film them without their permission, or they could sue the hell out of you. Even like some of these videos, you see some guys approaching women and all of that. They gotta get that woman's permission. And shit, I found out some occasions where some guys are actually paying the women, giving them a fee or something. Come on now. Come on now. But, you got some guys thinking, well, if I don't look like this, I ain't getting a woman. Like, it's like the height thing. People think, well, it's over if I'm not a certain height. Yet, I consistently, and anybody who goes outside will consistently see men who are not 6 feet walk around with a baddie. If you actually go out, you actually go to a large metropolitan area, you're going to see it. You go to some place, like I'm known for going to different malls and stuff. And I always go, my son's like going to different malls. So me and my sons are real close. And I'll be checking out who checking them out. And I'll be also checking out who walking around. And then, like I said, I just know players in the real world. I know dudes. It's not like a speculation. I know dudes. And even what I talked about yesterday, like the difference, women rather have sexy rather than handsome. I pinned a comment by this young lady saying, and she was talking about who she dealt with and everything. A lot of people saw and liked that comment. Like she said, this guy who was real sexy to her but wasn't cute to her and stuff. But then I had another young lady trying on some bullshit. I ain't gonna lie. She trying to dispute it. And I'm like, who the fuck you think you are? I'm thinking that. I said, nah, y'all see another side of Rom. Because if you go out here in the world, everything I talk about, you're going to see. You're going to see. That's why I promote body game. Speaking of body game, real quick. I got a link in the description box to this song by Diana Ross called Muscles. Hold on, because I got my laptop here. I was listening to it. I was like, damn, she promoting body game, you know? Because she was saying about talking about somebody else. She said she wants a man to always understand. That's all right for her. Still ain't enough for me. She said she wants a guy to keep her satisfied. But that's all right for her. But it ain't enough for me. Still, I don't care if he's young or old. Just make her beautiful. I just want someone I can hold on to. I want muscles all over his body. Make him strong enough from head to toe. From his head down to his toes. Oh man, I'm going to put a link for that in the description box. But why do I talk about body game? It's in the real world. I see who's getting it in the real world. Because I don't have to speculate. I don't speculate. And that is somebody else saying, oh, that's your opinion. Motherfucker, everything I talk about, I already directly experienced myself or I witnessed it. Let me make that shit very clear. I challenge anybody on that shit. We can take it to the motherfucking streets. Because I'm out here in the real world. A lot of guys speculating or they want to be in some fantasy. I'm going to tell you what. That's why sometimes somebody might say something or call themselves detracting against what I'm saying. And I say, what street you from? They never seem to answer. I say, what street you from? Where you at? You know? And a few people who do answer, they ain't in the States. Now, like I said, I can't tell you what happens in the streets or in some other place. Here's the thing. Here is the thing, right? Go outside. See what's really happening. Pay attention to what you see. That's why I question a lot of people. Like, let's get to that height thing again. Oh, let me be clear, because a lot of times people think I'm hitting on the height thing because they think I'm short. I'm like, no, I'm 5'11". I'm hitting on the height thing because I'm trying to help you. Shit. It's very, even when I throw out stuff about myself personally, I'm like, shit. Because they call me Big Ron for a reason. So, but anyway, right? If you go out here, you see a lot of shit. You'll pay attention. I mean, and more than just what's said. Like, okay, that thing about, like who the women gonna get with, who getting down, who doing what, who getting to play out here. And let me just stay focused on that. Other than a good body build, the players out here look different. Different economic classes, different styles, everything. Other than a good body build. That's why I always say it's the base. Or players or the men getting attractive women. And then how the attractive women getting down. I don't have to speculate on that shit. I'm paying attention. I'm out. Because you notice a lot of guys, they can't say, they'll get on here and you can tell they introverted. You can tell they ain't the type who go hang out. I'm like, shit, you can go someplace and just sit and see what's going on. Shit. You can go see it. And then if you got to realize if somebody who generally looks in the same range as you is getting some, then you can too. Because let's be real, like that whole thing, you get some guys, it's over if you don't look like Chad. Well, a lot of motherfuckers out here who don't look anywhere near Chad or even a Tyrone, they still getting something. Now, I know some guys would say, well, the women ultimately want that. Okay, well, the men ultimately want that like supermodel of the world. How often is that happening? Some people just gonna say, you know what? This is who I am. This is who I can get. Boom. And it's on so many levels. Oh, let me address something else. Because in the real world, see, you got some guys, they worried about like a woman's body count. Everybody like it matters. Okay. How many women really got a high body count out here? Seriously. Like a really just high body count. Ain't like every single woman. There's a whole bunch of women out here on some incel shit. And like I said, if you really want that type of woman, you say, okay, You really don't want that woman? Boom. What's the reality with that shit? Get a woman who less likely to have a low body count or have a body count at all and stuff. So you either getting somebody ultra religious. Hey, they there. You either getting somebody ultra religious or not physically attractive. Come on now, let's just be real. And there's only going to be a small percentage. Everybody talking 304s. Let's be real. You're talking only a small percentage of women rolling like that. And you shouldn't want them anyway. So why are you worried about what they do? And then here's a problem I got with that too. A lot of guys out here talking about their anti-marriage and shit. Okay. So what does it matter what she does? What her count is? You ain't trying to marry anyway. Like one thing, and I need to do a separate video. A lot of guys deep down want to be married. There ain't no shame in that. It is what it is. But don't try to act like, oh, I don't want it, but then getting mad. Shit, you should want a woman going to flow like that easily. And let me get to that whole modern woman thing and traditional woman thing. These women haven't changed. Everything the women doing now, they've been doing. I've been seeing since the 70s. As a little kid, seeing the exact same thing. The only difference now is social media. Because everybody talking about, this ain't how they been. In their 20s, you didn't live back then. And a lot of older people who even will tell you something lying through their motherfucking teeth. They telling you some shit. Or they just managed to get through late in life extremely sheltered. Only difference between now and back in the day is shit was hidden a bit more. That's why I always say, listen to some of those blues songs. Shoot. And shit, women were cheating. They were shit. If they had paternity tests back in the day, there's a lot of people who think somebody their grandpa, it really ain't their grandpa. Only thing now is women can just be more open. They don't have to hide shit, but they were still doing shit. The shadow world ain't something that's recent. It's been happening. It's been happening. I talked to my elders. I used to say to them, oh, it was great back. They used to look at me and laugh their asses off. They used to laugh. Come on now. People got to start just dealing with some plain reality out here. You know? For real. People got to start dealing with the reality. What's really happening in the streets and everything. Who really getting down? You know, which men are really getting the poo. You know, like even that money thing. That's nothing new. Shit. And I'm going to tell you what. If you want to know what's going on, talk to some old school pimps. They be like, man, this ain't nothing new. Talk to some players. Talk to some old school cats who still get this. They ain't notice a difference. You know? It's just a reality. But I'm going to tell you what. See, part of the thing is you got a lot of people just in some fantasy shit. Seriously. You got a lot of people on some fantasy shit. You know, they more concerned with the fantasy and what they think is going on, not the reality. That's the thing. That is the thing. They more concerned. They thinking, oh, this is it. Or they think they coming up with something new. Meanwhile, old heads said, no, I remember this back then. Like, I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to say this from a personal perspective. Every single thing somebody think is new, I can point to when if you ask me very specific, I can say, no, I experienced that back in 1970. Or 1970. I was a 5-year-old. I was seeing some shit. But I can point to the year in the 70s or 80s. I say it the same thing. The only difference between now and then, like I will always say, people like showing it more. Like even the incel thing, that ain't nothing new. Every man wasn't marrying back in the day. And any older fellas on here, you know it. Everybody, it was always some like couple guys in the neighborhood who were living with their sister or some family, or they were literally living in the attic, or they were single. They weren't getting any play. There was always some guys like that. They just didn't have a way to like congregate. You know, studies have shown only maybe 40% of the men at any generation will put their genes into the future. So this ain't new. The only thing they're doing is studying, is people just documenting shit more. But it's always been that way. And that's just the reality. That's just the reality. But, some people got to learn the hard way. Some people got to learn the hard way. Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. Because everything still come down to men and women interacting sexually. A man's penis hasn't changed in millions of years. A woman's vagina hasn't changed. Only thing that changes is maybe the culture around it. That's the only thing that changes, but then it's still the end goal. It's still the end goal, and people so focused on all this other stuff. Because I'm going to tell you what, like a lot of guys talking about, let's get back to the whole woman thing and how women behave. Man, they've been this way, dude. They've been this way. Shoot. They've been this way. They hid shit better. That's the only thing. They were getting down. There was always some shit. The shadow world, there's always some shit. And that's why I will always say, even with what I tell you, go outside. Go interact. Actually have a conversation with your elders about some shit. Actually have a conversation. And they'll tell you some shit if they honest. Now, you get some, they try to lie and but let's just say there's been some occasions I found out some stuff from, because I encountered those elders try to make things seem all pristine and everything, but then you find out, oh no, they were getting down like this. They were doing this. That's the thing. Yeah. But, and that's the thing. And I would just say to anybody, get out, talk to people, interact. Interact, get outside. Get outside. And also realize the world bigger than you. Just because you haven't experienced a particular thing don't mean it's not true. Because see, that's something else too. Just because somebody ain't experienced, just because you ain't experienced a threesome don't mean somebody else didn't. And somebody else, they probably had a threesome and they similar in body build to you, looks to you, economic status to you. Seriously. So you got to think that way. You got to think, wait a minute, let me find out what's happening. Because I never forget, right? I never forget. I always tell that story about when I was doing a presentation to some thugs. They were court ordered to be at this presentation. Court ordered. A judge made them show up. And I was invited by this dude. His mind was blown by some of the stuff I told him. But see, I could tell, no disrespect to him, but he really hadn't been in the game at all. He's more one of those academic types and stuff, right? He never really been in the game. So what I was saying to him was blowing his mind. But we got to this thing with the thugs. They basically told me my book right back to me. They basically sat there. Shoot, even on the deeper stuff. I remember this one dude, thug dude, he said, man, you gotta try Cess of 9. Cess of 9? Yeah, Cess of 9. Cess of 9. I haven't heard of Cess of 9. And then he realized he needed to change his enunciation. He said, Sets of 9. I was, oh! I was like, God damn. Man. I was like, shit. Oh, man. I was like, man, okay. This dude had some shit. I was like, okay. And they would telling us, shoot, they would tell me about shadow world parties, everything. Oh yeah, and that's not new. And look, let me say something again, because the guys acting like these women just all of a sudden discovering sex. I remember this back in the 80s. I was living in Northeast DC for the Northeast peeps over there by Fort. This place, I was living in North Michigan Park, but there was a little house. I don't know if it's still there. But I know there was some shadow world parties going on there. Sometimes I'd be coming back from something early in the morning from a date or something like that. I drive past this house. I say every few months, it'd just be a bunch of cars because it was It was like over there by Fort Titan Metro Station. And it was kind of, the house kind of sat by itself. And it wasn't that big, but every now and then, I say every few months, there'd be just a bunch of cars right there. It'd be early in the morning too. It'd be early in the morning because I'd be coming, well, you can come back from the woman's house. So I'll drive past there and I'll be like, wow. And I said, I just knew. I just knew. I was like, yeah, they have those freak parties there. Because one of those thugs at that presentation, he was telling me about it, you know. In fact, anybody heard of the author Zane? And she talking about that, like, sorority, Alpha Phi, fuck 'em. You know? They were getting down like that. They, shit, you know. There's one party that somebody told me about. Anyway, that these are a bunch of professional women and stuff. And they would invite certain guys. The guys could only get in. They had to be invited. And the women had to do whatever a man said, no matter what he said, they had to do. And these are professional women. Oh man, there's a lot of stuff. It ain't nothing new under the sun. People think it is, but it ain't. But you gotta get out in the real world to see. And like I always say, if you try and get into the shadow world, hit the gym. Listen to that song "Muscles" by Diana Ross. That's a primary way. But yeah, there's some guys who might not be, built like that. They can get in depending on what they're doing. But because the shadow world itself is a big ass place. It's a big ass place. But it's one of those things that's part of the real world. So anyway, though, that's all I got for today, y'all. And you're probably wondering, hey, you're not doing the car video? Yeah, my schedule's kind of changed up today. Got stuff to do. So, and I can walk right to, I got 2 gyms. My second gym, I can just walk right up to it. So anyway, that's all I got for today. I'll get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.